Hey, everybody, this is Perch. I think this mail speaks to a bigger truth in all this, or at least is asking a bigger question. It's not a fun question. It's a question that, to me, YouTube and blogs and a lot of this stuff, it's a bit of a game. And the game is to try and get you riled up for emotion. It's no different than what we're about to go through with the, national conventions for the, presidential candidates or anything else. The goal is to get you worked up so you feel something, whether that getting you worked up is truthful or not. And I said this in another video. When something is boring, the general reaction is people just tune out. But with social media's kind of rise and change, in particular, the ability to do kind of a blog or reaction style video on TikTok or on YouTube, the goal is to make a boring thing a entertaining, and that's very appealing, particularly if it's a property that you love, like if it's Star Wars or if it's Indiana Jones or if it's Star Trek or if it's Marvel or DC Comics. If the comic is just kind of dull, it's neither good nor bad. It's just kind of dull. By the way, from a sales perspective, dull equals bad. Dull is death. But if it's dull, then a lot of people who are fans, like if you're a fan of Star Wars and then a Star Wars show comes out and it's just not good, right? It's not egregiously bad. It's just dull. Then, if you're a Star Wars fan, you have this pent up passion for Star Wars. So invariably what you're going to do is you're going to go and try and, see something. You're going to want to go seek out stuff that's just roasting the shit out of Star Wars because you want to feel something. There's an analogy I'm going to use later on this video that I think conveys a little bit of this. But anyway, let me read this mail because I think it asks a great question. It says, "Hey, Perch, maybe you've already got a video on this topic ready to go, maybe not. It's a safe bet I do because I'm talking about everything. Recently, I saw online some panels from Daniel Kibblesmith's unreleased New Warriors comic. I've seen the comic. A bunch of people have. I asked, and apparently some pages had leaked online. Obviously, it's very difficult to properly judge a comic based on a few pages, but I was curious if you'd seen it, and if you had, was this something that deserved to never have been released? Was it something that, despite the impressions the trailer for it had, despite the impressions that the trailer for it gave, had potential, or was it forgettable, boring, something that I find to be even worse than a bad comic? P.S. More interviews, please." We'll do more interviews. A lot of that's me. It's me, not them. Well, in most cases. Lake Northside, I'm desperate to do an interview with. I'm anxious to get back on with Brett Booth. I want to talk to my buddy Ben Templesmith again. Chris Claremont, I'm working on getting that locked down. Renee, the editor from John Byrne's She-Hulk comic, is coming on. Jim Shooter and I are working it out. If he would ever just bite the bullet, and I'm at the point now where I'm now just using his name. Scott, come on, man. Come on the air, please, for the love of God. Don't make me play, the Jewel song to guilt you into coming on. Come on, Scott. Anyway, yes, more interviews, please. Look, the Daniel Kibblesmith New Warriors comic was not the worst thing ever done, or even close. It had some cringeworthy moments, but it was also written to parody this stuff. And I guess a question I would have is, why does Mark Russell get away with eye-rollingly bad, pop culture commentary parody comics, but the Daniel Kibblesmith New Warriors comic, which was nowhere near as cringe-inducing as this fucking X Factor #1 that somebody shared with me that's coming out in a week or two. Why in the holy hell does Mark Russell get a pass and Kibblesmith doesn't? That doesn't make a lot of sense. But to be clear, it's not a good comic. And there's one channel in particular, and every now and then I'm reminded of this douchebag. It's funny because this guy begged and begged and begged to be on my channel for a good solid 3 years. And then now is like, Perch is a dick. I'm a victim. That's like, fuck off. Christ, you're annoying. And you've been annoying your entire life. You suck. Anyway, they always misconstrue things. Like, Perch said it wasn't terrible. He clearly thinks it's the best thing in the world. He carries water for the big companies. He's a shill. No, I mean, look, first off, if you want to see this new Warriors comic, the really stupid one with Snowflake and Safe Space and these other shitty characters, if you want to go see it, you can find it online. Just be remotely clever with the Google search, and you'll find it. I don't even think you need to be that clever. I think you put in New Warriors #1, Kibblesmith, and like the top 3 links are going to show you where to read it. So go read it. And I don't advocate for piracy, but things not being produced anyway, so why not? Go read it. What you will discover is that it's bad. But it's not like the worst comic ever written bad. It's just dull. This comic won't stick with you. That's the kind of bad it is. And I'm going to give you this example, which was a little bit of what I alluded to earlier, but this is going to be a really wild out there analogy. Have you ever seen Requiem for a Dream? It's a good. I like the movie, but it's not a movie that you feel good about watching. It's a haunting movie. It basically shows how drug abuse ruins people, and unlike a lot of unlike a lot of the after school specials and kind of PSAs on this stuff, where it's like drugs are bad. Oh, this guy, oh he became homeless, and it's sad. Requiem for a Dream like pulls no punches. The 4 characters that go down this track, their lives all turn horribly shitty. And Jennifer Connelly's scene in the end, I mean, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but when you watch this movie, you don't enjoy this movie because how can you? But it will stick with you forever. It absolutely will. You will think about this movie years later because it leaves an impact. And comics should leave an impact, whether they're good, whether they're bad. I mean, if a comic is so goddamn terrible, it will leave an impact. I'll give you an example. The All-Star Batman and Robin, where Frank Miller, Jim Lee, and, Batman's like, I'm the goddamn Batman, and I'm going to fuck, the Huntress on the hood of my car. And I like it's a bad comic. If you enjoy it for the art and, the Vicky Vale in her underwear certainly was nice cheesecake from Jim Lee. I mean, nobody's going to argue with that. But it wasn't a good comic. It's a bad comic. And you remember it because there's stuff in there is like, holy shit, this is terrible. The Daniel Kibblesmith New Warriors is not a great comic you're going to remember forever. It's not Spider-Man getting the alien suit for the first time. And you're like, wow, this is crazy shit here. It's not Watchmen. It's not V for Vendetta. It's not, Everyone Lives, Bill Loeb's Flash comic that you remember. Once you read that comic, you will forever remember it as being a great comic. By the way, if you don't know what I'm talking about with the Wally West Flash Bill Loeb's comic then go. There's a comic review. Just search Perch and Bill Loeb's. There's a great interview with him, by the way. Get that one. The guy's not in the best health, so go watch that. But go check out this review. It's a comic, and then go read the comic. It's an amazing comic. But anyway, there's comics that are really, really great, and you remember forever. And then there's comics that are really shitty, and you remember that forever. But at least both the good and the shitty leaves a memory. Obviously, you want the positive memory more than the bad memory, but, at least it left a memory. A lot of comics leave no memory. It's just dull and pointless, and you don't know why it existed. And that is that Daniel Kibblesmith New Warriors #1. It's just a boring comic. It's not, the YouTube videos that were out. I mean, like the whole character lineup seemed dumb as fuck. I mean, the whole thing was stupid. But that's that's the most memorable part about it. The trailer and the pre-sales, material about it. When you actually read the comic, it's a fairly bland introduction of new superheroes, and what you want to believe if you watch all those YouTube videos and the people railing against it on and on and on, you want to believe it's going to be like America Chavez, #1, where like the character's punching Hitler and talking in the worst version of Spanglish you've ever seen, and like it's just a terribly written comic. You know, I'll put it this way: the Gabby Rivera America #1 is infinitely worse than the Kibble Smith New Warriors #1. New Warriors #1 is just kind of there. So it's not as bad as people said by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not like it's something that should be saved from the archives either. It's just kind of dumb. That's how that is. I think Marvel, I mean, at this point, why not? I mean, fuck it. Marvel should release it. They could call it the most notorious comic of all time, but it won't live up to expectations on any front. It's not good. It's not bad. It's just there. It's like a different video I did a while ago. It's like, it's stale bread. That's what it is. It's like, you know, it's not going to make you throw up, but you're not going to remember that meal. And you know, comics obviously should be better than that. I mean, by the way, I'd please, if somebody twists this stuff around, or the next time somebody does the Perch is an industry shill, just let me know in the comments on one of these videos, because like I'm over here like, this comics, it has no merit to it whatsoever. It has, like, the story is forgettable. It's the taste of warm cream of wheat. It just it just doesn't matter. I'm picturing Marvel like on one of their trade paperbacks, you know, and they give the quotes like, an incredible story with amazing characters, you know, redefines the superhero genre. Reads like stale toast, Perch. Like, I don't think they're going to be going for my reviews. Anyway, it's not that bad. But don't take my word for it. Go look for yourself. And for what it's worth, you know, with a lot of YouTube videos and a lot of the blogs and everything else, nothing is that bad. Not nothing. A lot of things aren't that bad. Most things are just there. And again, if you're a commercial enterprise, just there with no memory is bad. You know, you need to make money, you need to make memories, you need to sell product. So forgettable is not exactly a thing you're shooting for. But sometimes, a lot of the time, a lot of the, you know, live streams, like 6-hour live stream to talk about the newest Star Trek. It's like, it's the nature of people who really care about these properties desperately trying to feel something. Much like Jennifer Connelly at the end of Requiem for a Dream was trying to feel something when she was using that kind of double-ended dildo with the other prostitute. Like, you know, you've done, try to feel something. Sorry, spoilers. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. Like and subscribe. And you can make the obvious joke. You know, this is like me talking to a comic in a comic shop. A lot of the time, these videos are like also like stale bread. But, you know, put some jam on it. Thanks for listening.